Underground service. As previously discussed, in most newer and densely populated areas, the electrical supply is fed underground. The underground service conductors between the electric utility supply system and the service point is called the service lateral. If the utility company has an underground supply system with transformers on pads at or near the property line, the service lateral is that which runs underground to the house from a transformer installed on the ground. If the electric service is overhead, the homeowner may not want a service drop or overhead line run across the property. In such cases, the conductors can be run down a utility pole in a raceway and then run underground to the house. Both of these installations would be called a service lateral, which is defined by the International Residential Code, or IRC, in Chapter 35 of the 2021 IRC as the conductors from the utility mainline to the point at which they connect to the service equipment or service entrance conductors at the house. The service lateral typically terminates at a meter or main disconnect enclosure. The underground service conductors, the service lateral, is an underground system for the service entrance conductors. For underground service, the service entrance conductors connect to the service lateral and run to the terminals of the service equipment, likely the main service disconnect. Other than during the very early stages of construction, the home inspector is not able to evaluate the conduit or cable, but for informational purposes, there are some restrictions that apply to underground services that should be noted. Direct burial cable. Type UF cable is rated for direct burial and has outer sheathing that is resistant to moisture and damage from the soil. This type of cable must be buried to a depth of 18 to 24 inches, depending on the location, as described in section or table 300.5 of the NEC, and if embedded in rocky ground, must be installed in a manner that will not damage the cable. This cable still needs to rise in a conduit to prevent mechanical damage before it enters the building. The visible ungrounded conduit should be made of either galvanized steel or gray plastic, rated for the purpose. Underground conduit. Where the service cable is not rated for direct burial, it needs to be in a full conduit and must be buried at a minimum depth of 18 inches under landscape and 24 inches under hardscape, such as driveways. Where the service conductors are buried underground, they are required to have a ribbon embedded 12 inches above the conductor unless they are under the exclusive control of the utility company. Above ground connection. The home inspector should evaluate any visible above-ground conduits and report any damage or open joints that would allow moisture into the assembly.